Hello, and welcome once again to Storytime with Oliver Covington. This week's story is called The Red Hourglass and was originally published in my book stories. Like and subscribe for more and enjoy. He sat silent at his usual corner table at Le Sablier Rouge while Marie-Louise prepared his drink for him. He exhaled a thick cloud of smoke from his hand-rolled cigarette slowly as the water dripped over the sugar cube like fingertips caressing a lover's skin, the cube melting into the dark green liquid below. When all was done, the now milky white liquid in the glass and silver cup seemed to call to him. Marie-Louise slid the cup towards the man, and he rewarded her with 100 francs and a pat on the bottom. She breathlessly whispered mercy in his ear, and once again offered to take him to her bed. He politely refused as he had done every time she asked, and she gave him the same magnificent pout before trotting off to another customer, her too short skirt revealing the scarlet panties all the girls wore. He raised an eyebrow in spite of himself and casually ran his hand down the arm of the black velvet jacket he was wearing. He wondered to himself if her thighs felt the same as his jacket. He brought the cup of absinthe to his lips and sipped, letting the green fairy spread her wings across his body. 1915 was going to be the most memorable year William Walker had told his parents when he quit university and moved to Paris to be a poet and a singer. So far, he had filled 10 notebooks and drank to the point of distraction. He was a regular at the club, the dandy American with a taste for absinthe and cocaine. He had been up for 3 days at this point, and he was just hitting his stride. The dark room was suddenly brightened by the loud, thunderous voice of Anatoly the Russian. He grabbed a few of the giggling girls, giving them all kisses. He was supposedly Russian nobility and spent money freely. He spotted William and shouted across the club, "William Valker." William smiled and raised his glass to Anatoly in a toast. Anatoly had also offered to take William to bed several times, but again, William politely refused. At the stroke of one, the girls all took to the stage to dance the can-can and show off their famous red knickers. There was always raucous applause when they were done, and then the room would fall silent. The stage would be lit with a single spotlight, and she would emerge from the wings. William perked up as the band started to play her opening song. At first, all that was seen was a long, voluptuous leg clad in the sheerest stocking held up by a garter. The foot was encased in a 5-inch black pump with a stiletto heel, and then she would emerge. She was wearing a black lace teddy covered with a sheer black lace floor-length jacket and a long string of white pearls. She was exquisite. Men died fighting over her. Women killed themselves for not being her. She was perfection. She was Claudine, the goddess personified, and as far as William Walker was concerned, the only other living being in the room. He sipped at the absinthe as she began to sing. Her voice touched every corner of the room and filled every patron with a flood of emotions. There was not another sound in the entire club. She was a siren calling sailors to their deaths. When she was done, the room exploded in applause, and the drinks started to flow again. She had disappeared backstage, as was the custom, and she wouldn't be seen again for the rest of the night. William sat quietly scribbling in his leather-bound book, sipping his drink and occasionally taking a snort from the snuff box he kept in his breast pocket. He almost didn't notice the dwarf standing eye level to the table. He was holding a silver tray with a small white envelope on it. The dwarf cleared his throat with a small ahem, and William turned to him. He slid the card from the tray, and the dwarf gave a slight bow and scurried off to wherever it was he scurried off to. He opened the envelope, and in the most beautiful handwriting was the simple phrase, "Come to my dressing room." See, William grabbed his glass and downed the remaining absinthe. He crushed out his cigarette and stood. He steadied himself for a second and then smoothed out his black velvet trousers and ran a hand through his shoulder-length blonde hair. After a minute, he headed towards her dressing room. He knocked softly and entered when he was beckoned. She was even more beautiful up close, and after a few minutes of polite conversation, they were both on her couch, kissing vigorously. She had torn open his shirt and tugged at his hair as he suckled her ample breasts, working his tongue down her body, lingering over the red hourglass tattoo on her abdomen. He traveled lower, and she dug her nails into his scalp as he feasted on her. They made love almost ritualistically, their bodies undulating together in some sort of cosmic rhythm that only the two of them could hear. When they were done, they lay on the couch in her dressing room, sweaty, exhilarated, and entwined in each other. He kissed her gently on the shoulders, as if giving her a silent thank you for giving him this most wonderful gift. She reached over to the side table and lit a cigarette, exhaling slowly. "I'm starving," she remarked as she leaned over and bit into his shoulder, releasing her venom into him. His eyes went wide, and he gasped as his breathing became labored. William Walker, the dandy American with a taste for absinthe and cocaine, was never seen again.